Hi everyone, my name is Anna and I'm an MRP expert and a business analyst at Odoo. In this video, I will guide you through what's new in Odoo 16, in particular regarding planning manufacturing orders. This is going to be our agenda for the video, so we have 6 main topics regarding planning and Odoo 16. And I will start with the first one, so the splitting and merging of manufacturing orders. Splitting manufacturing orders is useful for batch production, so when we are producing many units at once. Why is this useful? Because it helps splitting in advance your production and scheduling all the other orders in advance. What you can do is also assigning in advance the production of the different back orders to different employees, thanks to the splitting feature. And there is also something called production capacity overview that when splitting tells you what's the actual amount of components that you have in stock now. So how many units of your finished product you could produce with what you have right now and facilitates therefore the splitting. So let's dig in our database. All right, I have here a manufacturing order for a company that produces cakes. This is a cake for 10 people. I have my BoM already set up and I have 10 units to produce. So I have here my schedule date. Let's say the company needs to produce the 10 cakes by, we can say, the end of January. Okay, so the company has the 10 to produce by this date, but the company will not be able to produce all 10 on this day and finish by then. So what the company will do is splitting the production in order to produce, first of all, 5 by next week, then another 2, and then another 3. How can we do it easily? So I will check here the action button. You see there is a split button as well here. You can also check it in the list view of your manufacturing orders by selecting here and clicking split. It's going to be exactly the same. So as I said, I want to produce I want to split it in 3 orders. So this is the number of orders I want to split it into. And you will see that this facilitates us the scheduling of our back orders and the responsible as well, as I was mentioning. Of course, we need to adjust the quantity to produce. So as I said, I want to produce 5, then 3, and then 2 in order to have the 10. And I want to change the schedule date. So I will keep the last 2 for the end date, but I will produce the first 5 by next Monday. And then 3, I will produce them after 2 weeks, so let's say the 9th of January, so that I have a nice overview here, which will help me plan my orders. If I have different users, I can also here select all of them. In my case, I only have myself as a responsible, so I will leave it as it is. And that's it. So if I split now, everything will be done accordingly. However, checking back in our slide, we have this production capacity overview. Where do we find it? We find it exactly here. So here what the system is telling us is that we have a capacity for producing of 3 units. What does it mean? If we check our bill of material for the cake, we can check what's the amount of components we have. So here we see that we have 144 kilos of flour on hand. So it means that right now we can produce only 3 cakes with the flour on hand that we have, because we have 144 kilos on hand and we need 480 grams for only 1 cake. So if we multiply everything, that's going to give us 3 cakes. Let's check with an easier example. So eggs, to produce 1 cake, we need 4 eggs. How many eggs do we have here? We have 12 eggs, so that we have enough to produce 3 cakes. What I did is adjusting all my components availabilities to just enough to produce 3 cakes. And that is why here in my production capacity, I have 3 units. It is useful because if I want my schedule date to be today, and I want to produce 5 cakes today, I know already that I will not be able to do that because I do not have enough components. So I will just review my quantities to produce in my splitting. So I will say I will actually produce only 3 because I do have only 3. I do have enough components to make only 3 cakes in stock. And I will do 5 instead in the future. So I will have enough time in the meantime to resupply all my components. So that's it. I will split now my orders and it will look like this. So my single manufacturing order has become split in three, so 1, 2, and 3. And we will see all this now. So we will see schedule date is exactly like I wanted it for the three of them. It is useful for the planning because we see here the long-term planning, long-term date where I need to actually produce my cakes. And it's also nice to see what's the component status. As I said, I do have enough components to produce three, so this is perfect. Let's now move on to the merging of manufacturing orders. Why is this useful? It's again useful for batch production and planning purposes. So in order to merge manufacturing orders, they need to be in the same status, so confirmed or draft, and they need to concern identical products and identical BoMs especially, and they cannot have any additional components or byproducts. How would it work in Odoo? When you merge the orders, they will become one, which will report the source as the merged manufacturing orders, and those will get cancelled. So they will still be in the database in case you still need to check them, but they will be automatically cancelled by the system. The responsible will be either, if it was the same one for all the merged orders, it will be always the same one. Otherwise, if we had different responsible people for the different orders, the responsible will be the user merging the orders. Finally, in case we're working with MTO, so when we have the direct link with the sales order generating the manufacturing order, even if we merge different orders, the source of the link with the sales order will still be there. Let's check in our database. I have here 3 sales orders that have generated 3 manufacturing orders correspondingly. The sales order are also for different customers. So each customer has ordered 1 unit of the same product of the cake for a total of 3 units. And all our orders are to be started on the 26th of December at 8. How will it look like if I plan the order? Oh, I will also show you the operation, sorry. So we have in the bill of material that the cake, to simplify, only has one operation, which is the cooking happening in the oven. We have a duration of 60 minutes of the cooking, so the cake needs to be in the oven for 60 minutes. But on the oven, we also have some setup time. So the oven, before we can cook the cake, needs to be running for 30 minutes because we need to warm it up. So let's check the planning now. We can check it on a daily basis for the 26th. That's how our planning of the day will look like. We will start with the first manufacturing order. We will cook the first cake until 9:30. Then we will start with the second from until 11, and finally from 11 to 1:30 we will have the last order. You see here it looks like it lasts longer, but the duration is exactly the same as the others. It's always 90 minutes. It just looks like it stretches longer because we do not work between 12 and 1. That's how it looks like. So Odoo, what is it doing? It is repeating the setup time of the oven for each of our manufacturing orders. In real life, what a company would do if they need to produce 3 units of the same thing, even if it's for different customers, what they would do is turn on the oven, warm it up for 30 minutes, and then cook the 3 cakes, one at a time. In this case, we have a capacity of 1, but then the order would take 3 hours, so 1 hour for each order, plus only once the 30 minutes of setup time. Right now, instead, the 30 minutes are repeated each time, because if we check again our bill of material for the cake, we see that the actual cooking should only take 60 minutes, while in our planning, it takes instead 90 minutes. That's when the merging comes into play. So what we can do here is merge the orders by action merge. The first thing we notice is that the link with the sales orders is still maintained thanks to this new feature. So you see that you still see the different sales order with the different customers that have originated the 3 different orders that we merged, which we'd also find here. Now, let's set the schedule date back to the 26th so that we can compare. And now we can plan. Let's check again our planning on a daily basis, and we'll see that now we will end the full production of the 3 cakes at 11:30. So we will not stretch it until 2. So we will start at 8 with our warming up of the oven, with our setup time. So we will go until 8:30, and then from 8:30 to 11:30 we will cook the 3 cakes. Moving on to the next feature, this is the operation dependency. Now, something really nice to have is to set that one operation can be blocked by a previous operation. This will help us also when we need to reschedule or replan our dependencies. But I will show you all this in our database. First of all, in order to see that, we need to go in our settings, activate the work orders, of course, and then we will be able to also check the work order dependencies checkbox. After having done that, we will need to go in our BoM. So in this case, I will still keep my cake. And in the miscellaneous tab, we will see that we have this checkbox called Operation Dependencies. Once you activate this and you save, you will see here in the Operations tab of the BoM new column called Block By. Here you will be able to define that one operation is blocked by the previous one. If we check here, I will say that my cooking of the cake is blocked by preparation of the cake. Then I will say that my wrapping of the cake is blocked by cooking. And finally, the quality check is blocked by the wrapping. So as long as this is not done, I don't want to plan things in parallel, let's say. Okay, let's see how it works in practice when we plan our order. All right, now that it's created and planned, I will check here the planning by production. Here, I do not see anything special for the moment. I only see that the 4 operations are one after the other. But if I check my planning by work center, you will notice that we have arrows. These arrows represent exactly the dependencies that we have between the operations. And what's really nice is that now we can reschedule everything accordingly. Let's say we want to move our first operation to start at 9. Odoo will show with the arrow that there is a clash between the operations. What we can do, instead of dragging and dropping all of them, we can just click on the arrow and everything will be rescheduled accordingly. We can also change it back and we can do the same, but we can also break the link between some operations. Let's say I want to, no matter what, keep our quality check at 2 p.m. So I will break this link. I will reschedule everything at 8 and I will move everything back. And you see that this will stay here separated from the rest. I can, of course, create dependencies from here by dragging and dropping. So I can do that. It doesn't make sense, so I will not do it now. But that's our new feature. You might have noticed now that I showed the dependencies that we also have a revamp of our Gantt view. You see, for instance, first of all, the arrows, but also on here on the left, you see the capacity. It's not exactly the capacity what we intend here in the work center. It's more a capacity in terms of remaining hours or remaining days and so on. I will show you again here the planning by work center. We see here that we have 1 hour out of 72 planned here. So this shows the total amount of hours that we have available for the whole month of December. You will see that it changes according to the months, and you see that in December it shows 72 only because it shows the remaining hours from today, which is the 20th, until the end of the month. And it will show also how much it's already taken. So here I have already 2 hours, for instance, and that's kind of it. If we change also our overview, we see that it changes to the remaining hours, in this case in the week. And of course, we can check also per day, and it shows 8 hours. This is always related to our schedule in the work center. So if here we change for some reason that we don't work 8 hours a day, but we work 6 hours, that will change accordingly. So if we say that we don't work on Fridays, for instance, and we go back to our planning, we see that the planning the capacity has shifted accordingly. So if we check, for instance, a Friday, it will show that we have no available hours. If we check the week now, we don't see anymore 32, we only see 24 hours left for this week to be planned. And for next week, again, we don't have 40 hours anymore, but 32 in total. Another feature that we've improved in Odoo 16 is the bill of material overview. You see here, this is a screenshot of how it looked like for exactly the same product in Odoo 15. It was called, first of all, structure and cost, while now it's called BoM Overview. In Odoo 16, not only you have the quantity of the components that you need for the production, not only the unit of measure, the product and BOM cost, which were already there, but now you also see your availabilities of those components. So for instance, the free to use and on hand, the availability and the forecast directly here within one click, and the lead times and routes in order to resupply your components. I will show you an example in the database here. Let me check our products, our bill of materials, sorry. Let's take again our cake. Here you see the button is called Overview, and here I can play with my filters. I have some filtering, so I can choose what I see. So if I'm not interested in lead times, I can just remove them. I can expand, of course, to see the operations, and I can play here with my numbers. A further feature we've introduced is the specific capacity. I was talking earlier about capacities in the work center, so how many units we can produce at once in the work center. This is found in a database in the work center's main configuration. So we can check here, we have a capacity of 1, and this is a general capacity for the whole work center related to the number of same products that I can produce at the same time within the same manufacturing order. With the specific capacities, we've introduced the concept of being able to produce different units at the same time, but with different amounts. So for instance, we might have, I will show you here, we might have 2 cakes, one for 5 people and one for 10 people. The cake for 5 people is obviously smaller. So for instance, in my oven, I will be able for one big cake to produce only one at a time because I cannot fit more. But for 2 smaller cakes, I can produce them at once in the same oven. So how will it look like? I will just change it here. It will look like that. So I have a general capacity of the oven of 1. And then for the specific product, I can select it. For the cake for 5 people, I can process 2 at the same time. And in this case, I can also add the line for the cake of 10 people. It doesn't really matter because it's a capacity of 1, which is also the general capacity of the full work center. But how will it look like for my planning? Instead of planning my orders, I will just show you from the BoM overview that we've just observed, because it makes it very nice to check how long it will take us to produce our cake. We have here our operations, and we have here that it takes us 1 hour to produce 1 cake for 5 people. If we increase our quantity to 2, you will notice that everything has increased. So my components have doubled, my preparation time has doubled, my wrapping and quality check time has doubled, but my cooking time has remained the same. I will just go back to 1 so you can focus on that. You see that it takes 1 hour to cook 1 cake, and it takes 1 hour to cook 2 cakes, so that our capacity is applied here. Of course, as soon as we need to produce 3 cakes, it will increase to 2 hours because we cannot process 3 at the same time. So we can process 2 in 1 hour and the other one in the remaining hour. If we go to 4, our time will stay the same because we proceed 2 by 2. If I check instead my cake for 10 people, it looks exactly the same. But here, in this case, as soon as I increase my quantity to 2, you see that my cooking doubles. This is because I can only process 1 cake at a time. This makes it very convenient to have only one work center and then having specific capacities rather than creating different work centers according to what we need to prepare. Lastly, I would like to introduce you to this new field that we've introduced in Odoo 16, which is the days to prepare the manufacturing order. This field is useful when we have components in our BoM that we need to replenish, or maybe that we also need to manufacture. Basically, it is helpful because it helps us to take into account that this component needs also some time to be replenished to add on top of our manufacturing lead time. Basically, I will show you in our database with a specific example. We have here our cake, this time for 5 people. Our cake has a reordering rule of 00, so whenever we need it, we will have a manufacturing order triggered because we do manufacture this cake. And now we have our customer lead time of 10 days and a manufacturing lead time of 4 days. So it takes us 4 days to manufacture the cake, and it takes us in total 10 days to deliver the cake. Now, checking the bill of material, we see that we have here only 2 components, flour and sugar, in order to simplify my use case. And if we check in our overview, we have a delivery lead time, because we are buying it from this vendor, of 6 days for both. We have reordering rules for both the flour and the sugar. I will show you the same thing here. So vendor with a delivery lead time of 6 and a route of buying. Okay, so in order to show you how the days to prepare manufacturing order works, I will show you first an example without using this field. So we set here on our cake that we have 4 days of manufacturing lead time and 10 days of delivery lead time. Let's now sell the cake. All right, so we have here our order and we have our delivery that has been triggered, and scheduled date of the delivery will be the 30th of December, which is exactly 10 days from now, because I have a customer lead time, of 10 days. Now, I need 4 days to manufacture the product. So if I check here, there is no manufacturing order. Why is that? Because Odoo reasons with the just-in-time logic. So if it takes me 4 days to deliver and I need to deliver by the 30th of December, I will not have anything in the system until last minute, until the 26th of December, which is going to be exactly 4 days before delivery, which will give me enough time to produce by the delivery date. The issue here is that it takes me also time to resupply my components. And as long as I don't have anything planned here in the system, as long as I don't have any manufacturing order for the finished product, the need for the components to be resupplied will not exist in the system. So it will be too late on the 26th to trigger my request for quotations for my components, because it will take me 6 days to receive them and have them in my system, in my stock. I will show you here with a graph what I just explained. So today is the 20th, 10 days of customer lead time will take us to a delivery on the 30th. It takes us 4 days to manufacture. So what the system will do on the 26th, which is 4 days before delivery, my manufacturing order will be created in Odoo, and the schedule date will be also the 26th. So I will need to start working on it immediately that day. The moment that the manufacturing order is created will trigger the creation also of my request for quotation of my purchase order for my components, flour and sugar. The delivery lead time for those products to be received is 6 days. So what will happen in Odoo is that I will receive them on the 1st of January. So if we see all this and we need to deliver by the 30th of December, we obviously have an error here. We have a delay in our production because we will not have our components until the 1st of January. So we will not be able to start our manufacturing before the 1st of January. So we will be very late with our delivery if we start on the 1st, because we will finish by the 4th or 5th, let's say. So that will bring us issues with our delivery. Let's now check the use case with using the days to prepare manufacturing order. But before doing that, I just want to show you that indeed in our system we have no manufacturing order and no purchase triggered for anything. So let's see how the days to prepare manufacturing order works. We can see it directly from the product. There is a button here, compute from BoM. So if I click here, you see that my days to prepare manufacturing order automatically updated to be equal to 6. Why is that? Because my delivery lead times for my 2 components is for both of them 6. So that's where this number comes from. How will this change my flow? Let me cancel this one and create a new one. All right, we have here our order. Today is still the 20th. and my delivery is still expected to be on the 30th. So I will deliver my product on the 30th of December. Now, compared to earlier, we can check immediately our manufacturing app. We see that indeed there is here one manufacturing order that was created. It was created to be scheduled on the 26th, so still same logic as earlier, with the only difference that it is already created in the system, and with the fact that it has been already created in the system, this has already in advance triggered our need to resupply our components, which is very important. And indeed, we will find here that our purchase was created to our vendor for what's needed for the flour and sugar. And if we check here, the expected arrival will be, by placing the order today, we will receive the goods by the 26th. We can confirm it, and we can check also on the receipt. So the scheduled date of the reception will be the 26th. And with the fact that we will receive things on the 26th, we are sure that when we need to start our manufacturing order on that day, we will have our components on hand in order to be used in our production, so that we will be able to start with at this exact moment and date, and we will be able to then finish exactly by the 30th in order to deliver on time to our customer. Let's check it again with a graph. So again, 20th of December, 10 days of customer lead time and delivery date on the 30th. Our manufacturing lead time is of 4 days, so our manufacturing order schedule date will be on the 26th. So nothing different from here until now. The difference is that the manufacturing creation date is not happening on the 26th, but thanks to the days to prepare manufacturing order of 6 days, our manufacturing order creation date has shifted to 6 days before the scheduled date, so that on this date will have triggered our purchase order, so that everything is created on this exact date. And because it takes us 6 days to receive our product, we will have a reception on the 26th, which will be exactly just on time to start our manufacturing order, which will take 4 days, and it will be exactly just on time to deliver by the 30th. That was it for the new features regarding planning and manufacturing in Odoo 16. I hope the video was clear and that you enjoyed it. Thank you for reaching the end, and I wish you a nice day.